Sorry, did you say something? I wasn't really paying attention.
I just want to take another look at you.
Aw, thanks. You know how to make a boy feel pretty. Welcome to Tough Act to Follow. I'm Preston, aka the Ploominator, and I will be the audio-only director on this cinematic journey as I shine a light on the best and brightest stars in the Hollywood sky. And with how good I felt about last week's episode, I wanted to get an actor who was different than Will Smith, but still relevant and interesting. And so I turned back to the internet before hearing the sound of a raboon out in the trash can.
I'm not a raboon!
Sorry, didn't mean to offend. Now today we're talking about a 4-time Academy Award nominated and Grammy winning actor who has done so many successful films in one decade, it's hard to believe he had time to do anything else. I'm talking of course about Bradley Cooper. So what is it about Bradley Cooper that keeps the Academy buzzing, our wallets emptying, and our hearts beating a little faster than normal? What was it that took this actor from one-time funny best friend into a near awards guarantee? And what tricks can we learn from how he jumps from genre to genre to become one of the biggest stars in Hollywood? So come with me again, friends, as we dive into the Hollywood machine and explore why Bradley Cooper is a tough act to follow. When talking about Bradley Cooper, you have so many places you could start. But the one thing that stood out to me the most was how his thought pattern is evident even in moments of stillness. He's always thinking, always moving. He never sits still mentally. You can see it in his face and his eyes. Whether he's receiving information, reacting to something someone said, or just working on what he's about to say in response, he's sitting, observing the people around him, and you can see his mind work. He's always thinking, his mind always racing back and forth. This is evident in most of his movies, but I think the best examples come in Silver Linings Playbook, where he sits and listens as his therapist gives him some tough love.
Wasn't true, it was a delusion. And we later found out from the hospital that's because I'm,
Undiagnosed bipolar.
yeah. With mood swings and weird thinking brought on by severe stress, which rarely happens, thank God.
His thought process is one of the things that makes it evident that he's not just living in the scene, he's living in the world the story is telling. He's fully embodying this character whenever he's got a camera on him. And not even when it's on his face, he's acting with his full body. He's committing physically and he's fully in character, even when he's not being seen from the front.
Is that song really playing?
I don't know if anyone else knows, but it's really hard to act with the back of your neck and show exactly what's going through your head. But Cooper manages to do it. Even before you see his face, you can see his reaction. And that's an impressive feat. And that leads to his second trait, which is that his physicality changes whenever it needs to. Some actors carry themselves in a very noticeable and distinct way, and that presence doesn't really change from movie to movie, but Bradley Cooper does. His physicality can be loose and sporadic, or slow and methodical. Or in the case of portraying someone like Chris Kyle, heavy and absolute. Compare how he held himself in Silver Linings Playbook to how he holds himself in American Sniper. The presence is different. He feels heavier, and as though this weight is being carried in a completely different place in his body. It's not the same energy that he had in Silver Linings Playbook. He feels far more controlled, as a member of the military would, compared to an average citizen. He's completely changed how he moves and operates, and he took a character very unlike himself and made the portrayal feel totally believable. But beyond the physical, Bradley has this ability to be charismatic in a way that makes him likable even when he's not really the best person. Or as I like to say, the likable dick. And he knows how to be in those worlds when he's hard and gruff and off-putting, but he can also live as a character who has a high energy and is laced with sarcasm. He's not just a dramatic actor who lives in the serious roles, and he can hold his own against fast-paced comedians and high-energy storytelling. And his ability to be both likable and off-putting at the same time lets him thrive in certain comedies. When he gets in deep in The Hangover, he really turns on the charm in a way that makes you both love and hate him.
Shit. Nice car.
Yeah, I'm driving. Oh, no chance, but don't step. God, watch the left.
Just shut up and drive before one of these nerds ask me another question.
Cannibal.
And not all actors can fit into a comedy film seamlessly. Comedy is incredibly hard to do, and Bradley knows how to play in a way that is both grounded and down to earth, but still over the top enough to be funny. And it's because Bradley Cooper is good at what he does. He knows how to embody a character so fully that he fits in any world he has to occupy. And another sign that Bradley is really good at what he does is that he knows that he can break the rules from time to time. He knows that he's allowed to do things that are often seen as poor acting choices because it benefits the character he's playing. For example, I've before applauded listening to your scene partners, but in A Star Is Born, Bradley spends more time in his own head and ignores most of what's going on around him.
Is that me?
That's you.
You just write that now?
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
I'm falling.
As we've seen from the movies before this one, Bradley knows the rules. He knows what he's doing. We've seen him use them in other scenes, but his portrayal of Jackson Maine's alcoholism is so all-consuming that he lets himself exist in this haze, which means he doesn't always need to be listening and reacting normally, because the character isn't living in the same world as his scene partners. He's off in some other imaginary place in his head, and Bradley knows he can break these rules and do so in a way that doesn't feel like bad acting. Jackson Maine still feels like a real character, even when he feels like he's out of touch with the other ones, and that's a testament to the portrayal that Bradley does. And the other thing that makes Bradley so good is the voice work, how he changes his voice to sound so different from himself. He sounds unlike any character he's portrayed before, and actually sounds so much like Sam Elliott, who plays his brother, that you believe those two are related.
Sure thing, Jack. Took your voice, you know. As you idolized, wasn't that?
And the voice never feels so outlandish or fake that it feels like a caricature. It feels real. It feels like a real person. And in numerous roles, Bradley has shown himself to be a talented vocal performer. This is evident from the accent work that he's done, his ability to change the pitches and rhythms of his character. He can sing in character, especially in this movie. But the biggest indicator of being vocally dexterous is the ability to scream and grunt in character, and his ability to imitate other characters while still being rooted in the voice that he's using. This is evident in A Star Is Born, but it's even more evident in another movie, one that is wholly dependent on his voice to portray the character.
What? I'm sorry. I am so sorry. I just keep imagining you waking up in the morning, sir, looking in the mirror, and in all seriousness saying to yourself, you know what would be a really kick-ass name? Taserface!
I love this scene because Bradley as Rocket imitates Taserface. But beyond just the imitation, he shows an ability to laugh in character, and he fully realizes the character just through his vocal performance alone. Bradley has played numerous characters, and this one feels just as real as the rest of them. And yes, you have to give some credit to Sean Gunn's physical choices and the CGI team who created Rocket, but the emotional core of that character does come from the voice and the vocal choices that Cooper makes, and that's why he's so good.
I want to save Quill so I can prove I'm better than him. I can lord this over him forever. What are you laughing at me for?
You can fool yourself and everyone else, but you can't fool me. I know who you are.
You don't know anything about me, loser.
I know everything about you.
So why do people love Bradley Cooper? 1. Bradley thinks. His mind is constantly in motion, and you can see it racing both in the way he carries himself on his face and through his physicality. He can act with a camera in front of him or behind him, and he fully embodies the characters he's playing, not just in the scenes themselves, but in the greater world he's living in. 2. Bradley can alter his physicality. He can be light and high energy or heavy and low energy. He can bring a presence to a character that feels different from what he's done before, but never feel like it's unreal or ungrounded. The character feels genuine, and the physicality is a part of that. 3. Bradley can play a likable dick. He can take a character that we should be completely against and make them someone we root for. He has this ability to know when to be the person we root for and when to kind of play the antagonist in the scene, and he does it in a way that we never fully dislike him. 4. Bradley knows when to break the rules of acting, and he knows how to do it in a way that keeps the choices believable. He never seems too out of reality, even when he chooses to implement traditionally poor acting choices to help push the character further. 5. Bradley's vocally dexterous. He can alter his voice and manipulate the way he sounds in ways that both sound vastly different and totally natural. And he can use it even when he sings, laughs, screams, and imitates other characters. It's a talent people often overlook. So now that you know how talented Bradley Cooper is, you're probably going to want to see some of these skills in action, right? So where do you start? So here are my essential watches for Bradley Cooper. 1. Silver Linings Playbook. I think this is a good baseline to understand how Bradley Cooper operates as an actor without getting deeper into his bag of tricks. Plus, the subtle comedy allows him to bridge that comedy and drama gap that he would become known for. 2. American Sniper. This is a wonderful character study piece, and Bradley is so different as Chris Kyle than any of his other roles. He changes both physically and vocally, and really gets the time to play an outwardly hard but inwardly vulnerable character. 3. The Hangover. Look, an actor who can excel in comedy is impressive in my book, and one who can hold their own against talented comedians like Ed Helms, Ken Jeong, and Zach Galifianakis is especially skilled. It's not the deepest role, but it does show a fun side of Bradley Cooper. 4. A Star is Born. This movie's not actually one of my personal favorite movies, but Bradley Cooper is so good in it that I think you honestly have to watch it. He plays a hollow shell of a man who has been hurt by long roads of struggle and is looking for someone to save him. It's worth the watch just for his performance alone. 5. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I know some people will wonder why I chose this one over the first one, but I actually think that 2 has a stronger Rocket storyline, and it really lets Bradley Cooper play vocally in a way that is fun and fresh. Nothing against the first one, but the second one definitely shows off his skills more. And that is why Bradley Cooper is a tough act to follow. Thank you so much for watching this, everybody. Tell me, what are your favorite Bradley Cooper performances? What makes them your favorites? Was there a movie I didn't say that you would have liked to hear? Who would you like to see me analyze next? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like this video, go ahead and give it a like. If not for me, at least for the glory that is Jackson Maine's Musk. And if you want more of these insights into your favorite film stars, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, as I always say, thanks for taking the time to get Ploominated.